Hey there, you're listening to the Not So Breakfast Show with Sacha and Ish. All right, welcome to the podcast today. This is kicking off season 3 of the Not So Breakfast Show. If you are new to the show, this is the podcast for contemporary leadership and career development. And today we're discussing Sacha's recent experience at Harvard Business School and just covering a fraction of the things that she learned. Now, for our international listeners, you might think in New Zealand we just talk about sheep all the time, but it's not true. Sometimes we talk about cows.
So the cows of society and the cows of the business world that we are facing right now.
I tell you what, it's not what you think it is. Anyway, that's the show. Let's get it. All right, welcome to the Not So Breakfast Show today. I'm a bit rusty on that, but we are back with season 3. It has been about, I wouldn't say 4 or 5 weeks since we have put this episode out, and mainly because Sacha has been on the road, and when I talk about on the road, I'm talking about on the other side of the world, but she's back in Hamilton today. Sacha Coburn, welcome back to NZ.
It is so good to be back in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I have been places, man. I've been to Los Angeles. I spent some really great time there with a friend of ours, Emma Barry. That was mind-blowing. I obviously had some time finishing up my program at Harvard Business School. I went on holiday in the Bahamas. I'm that bitch. and now I'm back in Hamilton and having that kind of reflective time where you're going, oh my God, I've been transformed, but now what? So great to be back, grounded, feet back on the earth. Literally, I've been taking to going outside barefoot in winter, feet on the grass, just to go be here now. Yeah, and super excited to be back on the Not So Breakfast Show with you, my friend.
Yeah, well, it must be weird because they do say Hamilton is the Bahamas of New Zealand.
Do they?
No. So quite a contrast for you there, but so good to be back. And what I'm really interested in exploring today is, what did you learn at Harvard? Because this is the 3rd time that you've been there, and you always come back with some great bangers of knowledge and information. So let's unpack a little bit of that. And also let's talk about what you did at Harvard, or what you got to do at Harvard, because that was exciting as well.
I had a very exciting time. It's funny because when we were prepping for the show, Ish was like, oh, what 3 things did you learn at Harvard? I'm like, 3 things? I learned 300 things. And, you know, where do you begin to sort of unpack what you learned? But I think, you know, always learning is a hugely personal journey, right? So whenever you're setting out to learn something new, often what we learn in the process is not the thing we set out for. And I love that about any kind of mind-bending experience that you go on. It's if you're open to learning, the lesson may not be what you thought that you needed. So that's kind of a long-winded way of saying there was like 170 people in the class, and every one of them will have come away with something different, even though we sat in the same lectures, because every experience you're having is co-created. And I think it's really interesting for those of us who are involved in teaching or coaching or leading and guiding others, that we start with this plan where we go, here's what I'm teaching, or here's the message for today. It's almost irrelevant, because whatever the audience or the people that you are working with, whatever they are needing on any given day is what they're going to take from what you're giving them, right? So you can have your curriculum really neatly planned, and the message that gets to people is completely different to what you had hoped. So I can reflect on what I got from it, and that might be completely different to what the other people in the class got. And, you know, that's the power of kind of being open to these mind exploding situations. I mean, you must have examples of things you've gone into thinking, I'm going to learn X, but you come away going, I got a completely different lesson.
Yeah, and also sometimes you're just in an environment, or you're listening, you're in a meeting and you just hear a piece of information that maybe even had nothing to do with what the topic was or what was happening, but for you it just landed at that right moment, and you're just like, holy crap, it was worth being in the room just for that one thing, even though the rest of it wasn't that interesting maybe on that day, but there's always something, right? And that comes back to that statement, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, but really the teacher might just be realization, information, experience, whatever it is, and it just hits you at the right time, at the right moment.
Completely. I got a great example of that. In one of my other little side hustles that I run, we send thank you gifts. If people come and do a course with us, we send a thank you gift. And through a whole variety of reasons, which are primarily entirely my fault, the thank you gifts didn't get sent. And I discovered that like 4 months later, there was this bundle of thank you gifts sitting in an old box at Coffee Culture Warehouse. And, whether the guys had forgotten to post them or whether I'd forgotten to give them to the guys, a whole lot of people were thankless out there. They were like, wow, I paid all that money to do that course and I never heard from those people ever again. So I found the box and I had this dilemma. Do I send it now? Do I send it 3 months late?
Yeah.
So my message might have been, oh, it's a lovely hot day here, but now I'm going to be sending it in winter. Do I send it? Do I rewrite the cards? What should I do?
Do you repurpose it for the next one?
Totally. Do I burn those people and forget that they never existed, and if I see them in the street, I'll cross the road? What I decided to do was I rewrote some of the cards and sent them anyway. And I got a stunning piece of feedback from a woman who said, your gift arrived at precisely the right time. I'm choosing between some job opportunities, and when I got your gift and your card, that helped me decide.
Wow, Sash.
So I'm like, maybe those thank you gifts were supposed to sit in a pile in a dusty old warehouse.
Yeah, you tell yourself
the point
that.
Being, when you're ready for the message arrives, right? I can't explain all that stuff, but I just think when we're open, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, tomorrow you'll get the email that just says, I've been waiting for this for 3 months. Okay, so what about the experience of Harvard?
So what happens at OPM, which stands for Owner President's Management, you go for 3 weeks and you go 3 times for 3 weeks. So you meet a whole lot of other people who are running businesses of a certain size. They have got to have 10 years leadership experience, and you go into dorms. So you go into like student dorms, you have your own room, but you live together in pods. So there's 8 people that are in your living group, and you have an intense learning experience with them where every morning you'll prepare for the lectures that are coming that day. You'll discuss what's ahead. You'll answer questions that the professors have set you. And then you go off to your lecture theatre and your name card's there and you sit where they tell you, and the professor comes in and you have 90 minutes of full-on discussion and learning. And they sometimes use the Socratic method, which means when you least expect it, they're going to ask you a question whether you're ready or not, and so you've got to be on your toes and ready to answer. And everything's catered and the linen gets changed, and it's a wonderful kind of experience. And you're in a beautiful place in Boston, and Harvard Business School, it's like Disneyland. It's beautifully kept and cared for. Every wish that you have is catered for, so that all you need to do is think about what you are learning and how you might apply that. That said, there's a ton of partying and people having a good time. For me, this time I got COVID. So it was my first experience with the Rona, and that meant I had to spend 5 days in my room. The rooms are small, and Harvard's amazing. They drop off food and medicine and cold towels and hot towels and ice towels and new sheets. And because the rooms are so small and they kept dropping stuff off, it ended up that I couldn't actually move in my bedroom. So to get off my bed, I had to climb over all the fresh towels that kept being delivered. So it was an incredible experience. And because I was in the States, I got to have some of Pfizer's experimental COVID treatment as well. And so that was incredible. So maybe...
I wonder why your eyes were glowing.
Yeah, I'm radiating.
You look taller.
I'm radiating goodness. And so after 5 days, I could mask and get back to class. Yeah. But again, being in that environment, all of the lectures are live streamed, so you can sort of lie on your bed, and so it's pretty cool. I want to tell you, I got a summary of the top 3 things that I've learned. So Can I tell you about those?
Oh, go on.
Okay. And these are all really cheesy, and you do not need to go to Harvard Business School to learn this stuff. But I think it's a really useful at the start of this season to be reminded about some of these kind of lessons in life and lessons in the business. And the first one came from the concluding lecture from the faculty chair, a guy called Professor Ananth Raman. It's really cheesy because it's Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
And that is to take the shot. That life presents us with these opportunities. We have opportunities in business. We have opportunities to create things for ourselves and to create products and services for other people. And so many of us have ideas that we sit on. We see opportunities in businesses that we work in, and we don't do anything about it. And his biggest exhortation to us all, and we all have successful businesses already, but he said the opportunities are still in front of you. And when that goal opens up, take the shot. And I was thinking about in my own life, when I was away, I had a birthday. I'm 49. I mean, that just seems like a number that at no time in the past was that possible that I could say that about myself.
Oh, don't even think I'd count that high, Sacha.
How old are you?
48.
Oh, when will you be 49?
December.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that because we can be 49 together.
Yeah.
I had my birthday while I was away, and I think, wow, when I get to 50, I'm going to be halfway. So even though some of you listening are thinking like, oh, I'm winding down in my career, I don't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just winding up. I'm just getting started. The kids are about to finally leave home, and I might get a sense of my life back. But I just love this idea that throughout our days we have opportunities and we just have to take the shot. There's no guarantee that it's going to be a home run. It's no guarantee that it's going to be a goal. And I also think that in terms of, like, I've been walking past people who are begging or down on their luck or need some help. And I've gone from this thing where I'm like, oh, am I doing the right thing here by giving them money or not? And I'm like, oh man, let's not overthink it. I want that person to have a better 5 minutes than before I arrive. Take the shot, give it away. Give away the good stuff that you have. And that kind of really struck me right between the eyes and right in my heart. I got to take the shots more.
Yeah. It's interesting and very relevant in the conversation now because I think people are starting to think, what do I want to do? The whole world's been shaken up. And when we look at some of those shots, it must be tempting also just to kind of go, oh, yeah, but there's so many other people doing what I wanted to do. Have I missed my shot because of timing? Or actually, am I going to be the one that takes the shot that makes it?
Oh, it's never over. It's never too late, man. That's the excitement that I come back with too, is just this idea that it's not over till it's over. And lots of talk about the Great Resignation. I just see it as being a great reset, that people are asking themselves, what do I really want to do? And I'm totally cool if what you really want to do is not work and not pursue things that bring products and services to other people. But if you do like solving problems through business, I reckon it's a great time to reset and go, what might the next year or two look like for me?
We'll be right back.
If there was one skill that could double your income, advance your career, and increase your ability to influence, it is the skill of presenting. Whether it's on stage, in the boardroom, or at a job interview, the 30-minute presenter program will help take you to the next level. So check out our Instagram page, click the link in the bio, and get started on the 30-minute presenter program. Okay, that's a great one. What else have you got, Sash? What was number two?
Well, the second key learning for me, and it's something I've always known, but it kind of turned out to be true for me. Again, cheesy as all hell, is ask for help. So when I was locked in my COVID room bubble, I toyed with the idea of not telling anyone I had COVID. I mean, that's terrible. But I thought, if I tell everyone I've got COVID, I've got to stay in my room. That's the responsible thing to do. I could be incredibly selfish now, just wear a mask and live a small life, but still be out and about actually going to lectures. And I'm embarrassed that thought crossed my mind. But I had a dear friend, Sandra, came to visit, and she told me in no uncertain terms that I needed to confess my sin of being COVIDized. But what I realised is that it's a lonely time, and I couldn't get everything I needed. When you're not in your own country, you don't know how everything works. How am I going to get the medication I need? Who's going to bring me ice cream? Or you don't know what you're going to need. And as it turned out, what had been dropped off to me was literally tens and tens of bottles of water and of juice, but it was all lukewarm. And so I don't want to be like churlish, but it was lukewarm. And I was like, oh no, Sashi doesn't drink lukewarm water. Sashi likes cold water. So I was like, this is a dilemma. So out of the 174 people that were in the same program as me, we have a WhatsApp group. People who I barely knew. I'd met them, not even met them. They were just in the class. They knew I had COVID. They would message me and say, is there anything I can do to help?
Aww.
And you know what we do as humans? What would you most likely say?
Oh, no, I'm okay.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm fine, right? Our instinct is to go, no, I'm fine. And I had this moment of absolute clarity where I went, you must participate in your own rescue. You know, that's something you and I talk about a lot. So I made this rule that every time someone offered to help me, I would ask for the thing that I needed. And I didn't know these people. And I subsequently Googled them, and I'm a bit embarrassed about what I had some pretty high-powered people doing on my behalf. If I'd known beforehand that one of the guys that helped me has like 80,000 followers on Twitter, I might not have been so forthcoming. But I just said what I needed. So someone asked me, is there anything I can get you? And I said, I'd love some vanilla ice cream.
I knew you were going to say ice cream. I can imagine the Twitter guy filming himself going, I don't know why this girl needs 37 tubs of ice cream. There's a lot of stacked up ice cream outside.
One of the guys is an Indian guy, and I said, look, I do need help. Could you recommend for me a really good Indian takeaway? I need to have some spice to help me with my fever. He said, leave it with me. And maybe 2 hours later, arrived at my door like this Indian banquet. It was incredible. He'd just arranged. Another guy said, I'm going to get you all of your vitamins. And literally, I don't know, $100, $200 worth of vitamins arrives with some medical equipment. Somebody bought me a book that I needed to read.
Medical equipment. CAT scan. It was weird.
But the whole thing was, I was just like, if someone offers, I'm going to take it. And I think there's something in that for all of us, right? There's actually people all around us that want to help, and we just go, no, I'm good. And it's to our detriment that we don't actually get good at asking for the help that we need. And whether that's because you've got COVID and you're locked in, or whether it's in your career, whether it's in your family, the ability to say, I need help. And actually, here is the help I need. Here are the things that would make a difference to me right now. If we could get brave about doing that in our businesses, our personal lives, and our professional lives, I reckon lots of things would get fixed much faster than we are doing right now.
And some people love to help. That's what they love to do. That is almost like their gifting, or their love language is gifts and serving other people. So
who was I to deny them the opportunity to serve?
That guy with the 80,000 followers was going, finally, someone's asked me to get the ice cream. All right, that was good, Sash. Number 3. What do you got for me?
Oh, I want to do a 2A. Can I do a 2A?
Oh, a 2A. Yeah. Insert it.
Because one of the realizations that really hit me while I was away, and I'm embarrassed by how simple it is, it's that people are good.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I know I am. I'm a bit cynical, and I'm a bit critical, and I'm judgy about what people are doing. So I can look at people and go, oh, yeah, but I'm just not sure you're doing the right thing with your gifts and talents, and you could be doing something. And I'm trying to back away from that. I'm trying to say, how do we encourage people to be all that they can be in the fullness of everything they are for what it is that they want for their lives? I mean, it won't surprise you to know that I'm not the omniscient, omnipotent creator of all things. I'm not the God around here. Who am I to judge? But if my starting point is people are good, then I think that just sets up a frame. Sure, there's some dickheads out there. There's people who are going to disappoint you. But I really saw this when I had that COVID experience, that here are people who have lots more to do in their day than bringing me some ice cream.
Yeah.
But they want to help on a really human level. And I think that's true for just about everybody. And if we go in with a mindset that says people are good, and how does that shift and change the approach that we have? When you've got team members that are letting you down, if you go on all hustle and bustle and damn you and your demands, versus coming in with a filter that said people are good and how can I help? And what might that unlock in our businesses?
I honestly fundamentally believe people don't go to work to do a bad job. You know, they end up sometimes doing a bad job because of a circumstance or because of something. But I think fundamentally, people do want to be good and do good things, like just the way people are wired.
You're a good person-ish.
Oh, thanks, Sash. What was number 3 then?
Okay, number 3. So this is what happened while I was away is, I don't know, because we don't have this in New Zealand. This strikes me as being an American thing. About halfway through the program, we got this email to say, okay, coming up soon, you guys have to vote for your reunion chair, your class secretary, and your graduation speaker. And I'm like, holy shit, are we at high school? To which the answer is yes. Yes, we were. And I just watched a whole lot of fully grown adults lose their minds about who was going to be our class speaker. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm there in my COVID-infested bubble. I mean, when I had COVID, I had this raging temperature. I slept with a flannel on my face because I couldn't.
Like over your nose and mouth.
Yeah, over my nose and mouth. COVID and a bit of menopause. It's like I was on fire for like days. So it was the least of my worries. But a couple of people, it turns out, nominated me to be the graduation speaker. But because of the way you vote, I was never going to have enough people in my corner voting for me, right? Because I'd been out of action for 5 days. A whole lot of people didn't even know, this will surprise you, didn't even know I existed.
Wow.
So people started sharing videos and it was like full-on campaigning. I would not have been surprised if a plane had flown past the campus with people's slogans on them, you know, pick me for reunion chair, pick me for secretary. It was all very crazy. Turns out a number of people had nominated me. So I put a little video together saying, you know, if I win. And then I did nothing. I left it at that. A few days later, the guy who runs the program pulls me aside and he says, hey, babe. He didn't say babe. He would never be so unprofessional as to call me babe. But he meant, I know what he meant. His name's Chad. So you know that he meant babe. Hey, babe, we would like you to be one of the 2 speakers.
Yeah.
Ooh. So here's the thing, be careful what you wish for, right? Because from the moment he told me that, I could not think about anything else. So I had days of lectures still to come. And so here's my 3rd lesson. My first one was take the shot. The second one was ask for help. 2A, people are good. And 3 is do it anyway. Whatever the thing is, just do it anyway, regardless of how you feel about it. You know that I can speak it. This is my superpower, right? My superpower is taking ideas, molding them into some kind of shape and delivering it in service of the audience. This was probably going to be one of my biggest opportunities to do that in terms of to respect my colleagues and to honour them with what I said. And I was so in my head about it, so overthinking it, overthinking the drama about who had been chosen and who hadn't, worried if I was going to say the right thing. I was super nervous about my voice because post-COVID I was like, I had no voice.
Sacha.
And I just had this really sort of lightning bolt of clarity that said, Sacha, that's how I talk to myself. Sacha, how you are feeling about this right now is irrelevant. Do it anyway. Just do it. Give it your absolute best shot. Not to show them from an egotistical point of view what you're capable of. as you and I know when we speak, it's never about us. It's always about the audience. How can you serve the audience? Forget about how you feel, whether you're nervous or excited or whatever, and just do it anyway. That's it. That was the lesson.
No, that's good. It's so good, Sacha. I thought for a while there you were going to go, I was so nervous, I was off my head, and then I thought, the 30-minute presenter program. I know a course that I can do online.
I can listen to my own course.
That would help me prep and map this presentation. But yeah, you're right. Just do it anyway, Sash. That's great.
Do it anyway. Don't wait for the feeling, man. Don't wait for the feeling to come. Just do the thing that needs to be done. And look, it was, all that preparation that I've been preparing my whole life to deliver, what ended up being a tiny address of, not much consequence. But it was important for some people in the audience at that time. And I had some lovely feedback, and I was humbled by the people who shared the impact that it had on them. It was a great opportunity to do something like that.
Awesome.
And I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was really nervous.
Wow, I can imagine.
But you train for those opportunities. And I want more. I want more of those opportunities. I want to take more shots, which means I'm going to ask for more help. And I'm not going to wait for the feeling to come.
Brilliant. Well, look, I don't want to ride on your coattails that you've been to Harvard, because as you know, I too have been to Harvard Business School Online and done an online paper. But you were talking about is it the Socratic method where they just go, you answer this question. Okay, so they do that on the online course. So you're listening, and then all of a sudden a question will come up.
Ooh.
And you have to answer the question. You have to read it and then write it. And I can see already, you probably know where I'm going with this. Read it and then write it, and then it goes out to everybody. So they see what you wrote, basically, and go back through and look at people's answers. Now, like you, Sacha, I can think on my feet. I can talk on my feet. Ask me a question, I'll probably come up with a great explanation. But when I have to read, and then I have to write, you've seen me type with my fingers, and spell, that was like the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And yeah, I can empathize with people that are in a situation where they can't think on their feet and speak very quickly. But I have exactly the same situation trying to write. But that's me trying to basically say I did something at Harvard.
You did, and you're amazing. What is mind-blowing about those international opportunities is, of course, so many people in my class, English is their second, third, or fourth language.
Oh, yeah.
So they are mind-blowingly smart to be even learning in a second, third, or fourth language. That just blows me away how much work they are doing, to keep up. It's extraordinary. I take my hats off to them, man. It reminds me of this great story the other day about this guy who gave this lecture, and it was a sort of a psychology and business intersection lecture, and because this happened a little bit in our class, this particular incident, but it happened to this lecturer as well, where he got up and he was talking about the cows, so the cows of society and the cows of the business world that we are facing right now. And the lecture went on for about 45 minutes, and because he was quite famous, people just really politely listened. And then at the end, he came back and he said, I've just been told it's pronounced chaos. And that was true, because people in our class would occasionally go, the cows of what we are experiencing at the moment. And the rest of us are like, the what? The cows?
What?
Chaos. Gotcha. Nice.
Oh, that's so good, Sash, unpacking all of that stuff. And well done, because I know that is must be just like ticking one of those boxes for you, speaking at Harvard, getting to do that course. And yeah, I was proud when I saw those photos come up online, I must say.
Yeah, we're going to share them on our page so you guys get a sense of it.
Sounds good. All right, so it is good to be back for season 3. We would love you to promote the show to a friend as well if you'd love to send it out and share. Love you to do that. And there is massive episodes in the backlog as well. So if you are just joining us for the first time, please get on that, have a listen. There's a whole lot of information around leadership, staying relevant, career development, and what it takes to move ahead in the business world. So that's it for this week. No banter, because we are at our 30 minutes.
Out.
out.